Machine is firing up. There it is. Welcome home, Bitcoin Truth Seekers. It is Monday, February 24th, 2020. It is 7:47 a.m. here in the Arizona desert. Well, this morning opens up with a jittery market on coronavirus fears, I do believe. And gold's definitely bullish. And I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are looking pretty good too. Let's look at the big picture this morning. We'll rock through this as quickly as we can. So, welcome to the Bitcoin Daily View, a Radiant Creators project. All right, Tether into Bitcoin, 3.77 billion this morning. That is not bad. Tether into Bitcoin at all. So Tether into Ethereum, 2.6 billion. So just looking at Tether into both Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think as we have market instability, some jitters, people are definitely hedging their bets into Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm really glad to see these high numbers for Tether into Ethereum. It's just a good thing overall. With that said, let's look at volume. Not quite where I expected it to be this morning. Let me refresh this. So volume to me still a bit low at 771 million. On Binance, you've got 419 million of that. Coinbase and Bitfinex have not gotten over a 100 million, nor is Kraken. So volume a little low this morning, but we definitely are rocking some Tether into both Bitcoin and Ethereum this morning. And of course, the volume that I'm looking at here is the volume for Bitcoin. All right, what is the long versus shorts sentiment on Binance, since that's where the big money is, that's where most of the volume is. So you got 35% short and 64% long. So I'm going to say that the market ultimately is opening today with some good volume, with some good Tether into Bitcoin. Not as much volume as I'd like, but definitely a positive sentiment. And the day is young and the market is crazy. So it's Monday. We've had a weekend of coronavirus, news, and definitely a lot of developments along those lines. So with that said, let's look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The Dow Jones just opened, and look at that. It easily is down 780 points. All right. Day is young. This is, it's Monday. This is reactionary. We shall see where this goes. We're definitely still on a very healthy uptrend for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, but that MACD is dreadful. That is a drop. So with that said, let's see how the day progresses. But Dow Jones is definitely down on global instability. Let's look at the SPX, the S&P 500. All right, it's looking about the same. So big old dump there. The MACD is just awful. I don't like seeing that. And then let's look at the Russell 2000, the little guys here in America. All right, boom. And it always takes the hardest hits. So bam, it took a dump. But what is not taking a dump this morning? And I look at that, gold. Well, sound money, gold. I mean, I think if you want to, I don't know what else I could possibly do to show that there definitely are, the coronavirus certainty, the coronavirus uncertainty is definitely having an effect on the market. Now, regardless of one's personal beliefs, whether they are whether they are dismissive or they think it's the end of the world, I don't think it's either of those. I don't think either of those, standpoints works. But it's an issue, and it's going to cause global instability as far as commerce for sure. I mean, everything was made in China. I think the world's kind of realizing that now. Oh my gosh, we have this huge single point of failure because everything manufactured needs something from there, including pharmaceuticals and tractor parts. So this is an interesting Monday. The market is reacting to global uncertainty, I think because of coronavirus. And if you look at this, there's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Look at that dump down past 700 points easy as we open. And then look at gold. Boom. I mean, can it be any more obvious what's going on? People are jumping out of markets and looking for safe havens. So let's look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing today? Well, it ain't quite, cranking like gold, that's for sure, but it doesn't really matter. We've been dumping recently. I would say our MACD is still it's negative, but I'm going to call it, indecisive. The MACD is looking like we are starting to close somewhat positively. Let's see how it goes. Bitcoin is not rocking a green candle today so far, but today is very, very young. Yesterday did close on a green candle. That's really, really a wonderful thing. So let's see how we progress. I mean, overall, we are still looking at, on the daily here, a positive Uptrend. It's all about how today goes. Is Bitcoin going to show to be a safe haven asset? Are we going to see some Bitcoin pumps today, or is it going to go down with the traditional markets? We shall see. This is a big test because you got the Dow Jones, you got these big players. They're hopping out in the safe havens. Gold's definitely one of them. Will Bitcoin prove to be one also? I would say, here's the thing. Even though this daily chart is not incredibly impressive, for Monday morning, upon the uncertainties that we're looking at, 3.7 billion into Bitcoin, as far tethered into Bitcoin, definitely money is moving into it. It's also moving into Ethereum. So, crypto market, is it a safe haven asset? We're going to find out this week, I think. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. Well, where's Bitcoin? Looking at this 4-hour chart, of course, directional index is still negative, but it's turning around. So, we are hanging out right here around 9,800. Right now we are at 9,747. And if you look right here, it's definitely a place we have previous VPVR volume, previous support and resistance in the chart. If we dump, we got a 9,500, 9,450 to catch us as far as support and resistance in the chart and previous VPVR volume. If we pump, we definitely have a plateau we can hang out. I would love to see us make support out of 10,400 or so. There's VPVR volume to support that and previous support and resistance in the chart. I think we're all kind of watching Bitcoin this morning, wondering, is it going to be a safe haven or is it not? Because definitely global uncertainty is hitting the markets this Monday. Now, something I wanted to note here. All right, Bitcoin versus Tether here on Binance. Well, whales, big money, what have they been doing? I'm looking here, and if I look at the last 16 days, we've had, BART, and then like in my yin-yang symbol BART, where you have one BART, then you have another BART inverse, then you got, this is, you can call it kind of maybe almost two BARTs, but this is one big BART Simpson pattern here. And then of course you have a upwards BART, then a downwards BART here. Now you have a very sharp Bart Simpson pattern, and you could almost say like a reverse Bart Simpson pattern there. Now you have another Bart Simpson pattern. So if you look, I mean, I know it's a bit of a thing that some might say I'm making up in my head, but basically, look at that Bart Simpson pattern, very, very clear there. Then a reverse Bart here. Then you've got Bart Simpson pattern. Then you have another Bart Simpson pattern here. So it all depends on how tightly you want to measure these things. But what do these do? These wipe out longs and they wipe out shorts on the exchanges. And if whales have been accumulating, and we have had some pretty good tether volume into Bitcoin, throughout all these Bart Simpson patterns, I gotta say that could it be, this is just conjecture on my part, have the whales been loosening up Bitcoin with these Bart Simpson patterns to buy? So I'm taking this as just myself personally and my insanity. I'm seeing this as a positive sign where I think the whales have been loosening up Bitcoin the last 16 days, because I believe at some point today or very, very soon, we're going to see a chart like this for Bitcoin. As I do think, I believe, not financial advice, but I think we're going to find that it's going to be one of the safe haven assets. That money that is rolling out of here is going to start rolling into also. It is up like 60% recently. So, I mean, it has been moving up for sure. It's just not a sharp pump this morning yet. We shall see. So, with that said, let's look at Ethereum. All right, Ethereum has been on a beautiful uptrend recently. We are hanging out here in support and resistance right around 2068 or so. We have VPVR volume there. So, this fib line, it may be valid or not, hard to tell. I think this is, I drew this right from when we last got about the 200 moving average on the 4-hour. And so this chart's a little weak this morning, but we are accumulating and we have been going sideways for a while. That's Ethereum versus USDT, and Ethereum versus Bitcoin kind of looks the same. So, if you look at Bitcoin, last 16 days, we've definitely been going through, I think, some whale accumulation via Bart Simpson patterns. Ethereum going sideways. There's accumulation because the VPVR volume is definitely growing. Then that was Ether against Tether, Ether against Bitcoin. Definitely see a massive amount of volume, and we're seeing some sideways action. So what's going on? It's just the calm before the storm in crypto. Just my opinion, but I think we're going to see some Bitcoin and Ethereum moves today. So big news. Well, of course, we already looked at some of the big news. We looked at some of the big charts, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, S&P, Russell 2000, gold, Bitcoin. But futures are extending their losses before the open, with Dow now set to lose 900 points. And basically, if we look at the Dow the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It has, if we measure this, if we look at the just the body of that candle and the bottom of this, the bottom of this body, that's 731. You know, if we really want to consider this wick, let's start at the top of this one, go to the wick. I mean, it's depending on how you measure this, you know, we definitely could have hit, you know, gone past that 900. So sorry for stammering there, but, you know, 700 to 900 points off as we open. It's definitely, depending on how you want to measure it, that has definitely happened. So with that said, boom. All right, look at this also. Black Monday, Dow futures down 800. Europe crashes most in 4 years. Gold soars. So, are we going to see Bitcoin show up for the party today? I think so. I think it's just lagging. With that said, hey, I'm a member of Blockchain Education, have been for over 2 years, and this is where I have learned to make a good deal of money. So, whether it's bull season, bear season for Bitcoin, alt season or not, always money to be made. I'd love to see you in the chat. Come join Blockchain Education. There is a link in the description. You can watch this video and learn a lot more about it. So I'd like to see you there. With that said, it's a crazy Monday. I think that people have woke up and are going to start realizing this week that there's instability. So let's watch this market. It's going to be crazy. If there's any really big moves and I'm able, I'll hop on and do a video and send it out there. If not, I'll do it every morning. With that said, obstacles can't stop you, weather can't stop you, heartbreak can't stop you, failure cannot stop you, only you can stop you. Keep hammering. This is the peaceful revolution. It is important that you're here as the world turns and changes massively. So, I'll see you tomorrow.